Hey. Time for an out of this world story from rSpace. One minute you're living your best married life, and the next your wife tells you she couldn't help herself because she was ovulating. As if biology suddenly replaced honesty, loyalty, and basic decency. Today on rSpace, when nature calls. My wife cheated and told me it wasn't a big deal. I went kamikàze and exposed her gossip to all her friends. I, 31 male, have been married to May, 29 female, for 4 years. We met at a concert in our city, and since we both had the same taste in music, it was very easy for us to become friends. Although we didn't predict it initially, from being just friends we eventually started dating, and things went well. I proposed, and then we got married. That's basically the summary of our relationship. Up until now, things have been good. That's what I would have answered anyway. I realize how in the dark you can be about your own relationships, even something as deep as marriage. I've always had a fear of being cheated on because it isn't really something that you can control. Most of the people who cheat aren't doing it because their spouses were horrible people or because they weren't satisfied in the bedroom. They just do it because they're selfish or they want even more than what their partner is providing. I hate that so much because it means that you have no control whatsoever over being cheated on. The best you can do is try and spot it as quickly as possible if it does happen. That was what I decided to do. I've been a fantastic husband, and I know May herself won't disagree with that assessment. I've done everything that I've been meant to do as a husband, but most importantly, I truly love her. So it is incredibly easy for me to be romantic and thoughtful and kind. That's not close to a problem for me. Despite everything that I've done, it hasn't stopped me from being cheated on, and I guess that's the life of a married man for you. You can do absolutely everything right, but at the very end of the day, your partner will do whatever they want to do. The only choice that you have is to figure out what you'll do when you find out, and I think that's the really hard part for me. I need to figure out how to approach what I found out, and I also need to learn to deal with the emotions that I have arisen as a result of it. The story is pretty simple. I found out that my wife was cheating on me simply because she was acting very differently from how she usually acts. It was subtle, but I know her well enough to have been able to tell when things are off. I asked her several times if there was something bothering her, but she maintained that she was completely fine and that there was nothing of the sort. She was different like 3 days straight, and I noticed that she was pretty much rejecting any intimacy from me. She would turn her face if I wanted to kiss her, so that I would only kiss her cheek. I asked her what was going on, but she refused to admit that something was going on with her, and that annoyed me because it was so obvious that something was wrong with her. After 3 days, she went back to normal, if I can call it that. I thought it would be the perfect time to ask what had happened, since it felt like she must have been over it, but she once again claimed that there was nothing, and she asked me to stop asking her the same question. Here's the thing. If she told me she was going through something and didn't want to talk about it, I likely would have respected her choice. But to keep lying that there's nothing when there obviously is, of course I'm going to keep asking. I knew that there had to be something, and maybe it's because I'm hyperfixated on cheating as the worst thing that can happen to a man in a relationship. But I decided to go through her phone. I've done it once before, and it was also at a time when she was acting as if there was nothing going on with her, but I could tell that she was acting differently. That time, even though I had quite some time to go through her phone, I didn't find anything of note, so I let it go. I hoped that it would be the same this time around because I only had a suspicion and nothing more. So when I got the chance to, I grabbed her laptop, which was connected to her iCloud, and I was able to go through her messages from there. I would have taken her phone, but it was proving to be a lot harder than I expected to get it from her without waking her up, or without her coming for it a few minutes later. A laptop was the safer option for me. It took me some time, especially because I had no idea what to look for. The first place that I started was her conversations with her girls, since I assumed that if there was anything going on in her life, even if it wasn't cheating, she'd probably tell them if there was some reason why she couldn't tell me. Going through her group chat was wild. I know that no one ever wants that group chat to be exposed, but my goodness, it was a whole lot of nasty gossiping about other people. I had to scroll through most of it, but I couldn't scroll through all of it, so I just exported the chat. I did the same when I went through her messages with individual friends. Some of them were part of the same group chat, some weren't. I didn't find much there, but it was when I got to her messages with her best friend that I found out what was going on. My wife had gone on a work errand. She was there, alone, with a male client. She said that she doesn't know how it happened, but they slept together. That's how she described it to her friend, who was appalled, but didn't really do much to castigate her for it. And I didn't like that. She claimed that they had gone in to take measurements and for her to take notes on what the client did and didn't want. She works with an interior decor company. She told her friend that his body was insane, and that even though things were professional, she might have given him F-me eyes. Her friend laughed at that, asking if she was serious, and she said she was. She said it has always worked for her, and it worked for him too. She didn't know what came over her, but she felt like he was flirting first. They were alone, he was handsome, and things just happened. She said that it was exciting, but she still kind of hated that it happened. She regretted it, but since it had happened, she was just going to look at it positively. He kept asking me what was wrong with me, but obviously he was better off not knowing, so I kept it to myself. That was her talking about me, and when I was worried. I felt so silly having been worried about that kind of person, because at the end of the day, she didn't care about me. It didn't matter that she regretted that it happened regardless, and I'm sure that while it was happening, she enjoyed it. I think a part of her would do it again, with the same guy if she had the chance. She's not somebody who I can trust or who I can continue to love if she's hurt me so badly. I've made sure to take screenshots of all her messages with her friend because she admits to the affair there, and that's the most important thing for me to get. Maybe I'll be getting ahead of myself. I know that I'm going to divorce her, but I'm already thinking about how I'm going to get my revenge on her because she needs to hurt the way that I'm hurting right now, and I'm going to make that a mission for myself. So, I've documented all of her messages with her girlfriends, because I know there's going to be a lot in there that I can use to hurt her badly. I want to have a lasting effect on her life, the same way she's going to have a lasting effect on mine. If there's any advice or any kind of words for someone like me who has been cheated on and is planning to get a divorce, please let me know. I want to navigate this as best as I can, and I don't want to end up making any stupid mistakes. Update 1. Thank you to everyone for all the kind words and the kind advice on my last post. Some major takeaways that I got were that it makes the most sense to let her know what I know, only when the divorce is ready to go right away, and so that's what I did. The first step that I could take was getting a divorce attorney, and I did that. I've never had to shop around for one, and I never thought that I would need to do that, so it was harder than I thought it'd be, especially because I wanted one who would do a good job of protecting the little that I had built up until that point. Thankfully, I found one who was a little above the budget that I prepared, but convinced me. It was when the divorce papers were ready that I decided to let May know everything that I knew. It was a very casual day, and out of nowhere, I asked her what had been up with her a few weeks ago, when she had been acting weird. The word isn't defensive, but instead, I'd say she got very guarded. She asked me why I wasn't just going to let things go. I told her that I cared about her, so if there was anything bothering her, I wanted to know about it, even if it had resolved itself. She said that nothing had been the matter, and I really just needed to let it die because I was starting to piss her off. "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you sure it wasn't because you cheated on me?" After I said that, her face changed right away. She was shocked and she called me crazy. She also acted very insulted. She said that she had never cheated on me and she never would. I asked her if that was the answer she wanted to choose. I pointed out that it was very possible that I knew something about her cheating on me with one of her company's clients. "Claire, that witch," was the first thing she said in response. So it was clear that she knew there was no space for her to deny it any longer. I told her that Claire hadn't told me anything, though technically, in a way, she had, since it was her conversation with Claire that led me to the truth. I told her I hadn't found out through Claire, but she probably didn't believe me. I didn't care. Claire could catch some heat too, since she mostly seemed to enjoy hearing May recount her experience of cheating on me. I asked her why she did it, and her response was that it was a mistake. She knew that she couldn't take it back, but it had happened in a flash. She told me that I knew she was ovulating, and it made her extra horny, and he had been around her at the wrong time. I asked her if anyone would be able to get into her pants just because she was ovulating, and she claimed that I was twisting her words. She said it was the first time she had ever cheated on me, and it would be the last time. He just came at the wrong time possible, and she didn't have the power to stop it from happening. According to her, he had been the one who came on to her, and he came on strong. I let her know if that was the case, she could report it to her company, because she made it sound like a client had been pressuring her into sex, and she caved at the end of the day, likely because she didn't want the job to be compromised. She seemed hesitant about that, which was easy to understand because she was lying. I told her that I knew she was lying. I told her that I knew she wanted it just as much as he did, and I knew that she enjoyed it too. She didn't say anything to that. She told me that she was sorry, but it didn't sound like there was much heart behind it. I told her that it didn't matter because there was no way we could stay married after that. For some reason, during our whole conversation, it didn't seem to have occurred to her that things could end with divorce, because she seemed very surprised. "You're joking, right? Seriously?" I asked her why she seemed so surprised. She said that it was the only time that she had ever cheated on me, and she meant that. It had happened because of a moment of weakness, and it would never happen again. And she had already said that she was sorry. She said that it really wasn't a big deal because these things happen in marriages and people move on. I let her know that I wasn't people, especially if those people didn't have self-respect and allowed their wives to walk right over them. That would never be me, and I needed her to know that. She told me that I was being ridiculous. She said it was such a trivial thing that if I really thought about it, and that she would be willing for me to sleep with someone too, if I felt that that would make them even. I told her that I didn't mind getting even, but that wasn't what would save our marriage. She had already planted a seed of distrust in me, and that would eventually germinate. Even if I decided to go on with things, it would never be the same, since I would never be able to trust her again. She started to act like I was being unreasonable, and that pissed me off even further. I told her that we had made vows, and so far, I was the only one to have stuck to them in their entirety. She needed to understand that saying sorry wasn't going to fix things. I let her know that the divorce was going to happen no matter what, and she just had to accept that. She ended up walking out on me. She got served with papers the very next day, and since we had said everything there was to say, she didn't mention it or make a big fuss. She had it read over, and then she signed. That's the point that we're at right now. So, as it is, I'm just waiting for us to get into the actual divorce proceedings so I can be done with her for good. I'm exhausted. Update 2. I'm really pleased to say that I finally freed myself of the burden of being married to a cheater. Divorce isn't a fun process, and I guess you only really learn that when you have to go through with it for the first time. But hey, I've done that now, and my goodness, it was pretty horrible. You want a clean and quick split from the person, but instead, what you get is slow and very painful one. You have to ruin whatever is left of the human feelings you have for each other by fighting over what you do and don't deserve. Speaking of that, because our earnings are mostly equal, there's no alimony. We had both have cars, so we kept our respective vehicles. She got to keep the apartment, but I was reimbursed for that, which is okay by me. I wasn't really attached to the place, and getting a new place for myself will really feel like a fresh start, which is what I need for myself right now. Once we were done, and we minimized our contact with one another, since there really wasn't much to talk about. I had to go to the apartment with a few friends because I wanted to pick up all of my stuff in a single visit. I had a police officer there to supervise things, as I had been instructed by the court. However, it felt like she came out on top somehow. We split things down the middle despite the fact that she cheated, and I was just annoyed at her trying to act like the bigger person. Since the divorce was finalized, I decided that it was a perfect time for me to actually get back at her. I spent my time getting the social media accounts of a lot of her friends, particularly the ones who had been gossiped about and the ones who had done the gossiping. I was going to destroy the entire friend group in one fell swoop. I didn't feel bad about it either because one thing I don't like about women is the fake friendships. Smile and wave in person but talk crap behind each other's backs. It makes no sense to me, and I was going to do something about it and make it clear she was the reason all those messages had been leaked. It took me some time, but I was actually able to compile everything into a few posts on Instagram. I tagged every single one of them, and in the caption, I described each slide and what they were looking at. Slide 1, @Kinsey gossiping with @May about @Sophia's husband cheating on her with his secretary. That was basically the format of the captions, going all the way to slide 10. I made sure to make it clear that all of this came courtesy of May. I used an anonymous account for it, and I knew that she was going to know it was me, but that didn't matter. Even if she could explain it to her friends that I was behind it, it wouldn't really matter to them. They didn't care about who did it or why I did it, but they cared about being exposed and being shown in a bad light. After I made the post, I got a few comments asking, "Who is this?" A few of the girls who had been gossiped about but never did any gossiping that I could find posted it on their stories to complain about fake witches. One of the girls who had been involved posted it asking someone to get her the person behind the account because she had a reward for them. I wasn't scared by that, and it sounded like she was trying to act tough. There was a lot of drama in the comments. Some women started to curse each other out there. It went on for a week, and I wish I had access to the fights that must have happened in the DMs. Needless to say, May reached out to me, and she was the angriest that I've ever heard her. The moment I picked up and she heard my voice, she tore into me. She called me every name in the book, including some that I didn't even know that she knew. She said I had ruined her life and I had ruined her friendships. She went on for some time, and I let her know that I hadn't even done my worst, because I still had the power to tell her company that she was sleeping with her clients. She started speaking, but she cut herself off. I guess she realized at that point that she didn't want to make me angry. I had hit at her, but I still had more where that came from. Her job was pretty cushy, and while I was tempted to go for it anyway, I ultimately decided not to. What I can say about everything is that revenge feels good. It really does, especially when you know that it is truly you getting equal for something you never deserved in the first place. I feel good that I've gotten back at her, and she's just going to have to deal with the fallout. Maybe she'll choose to be a better person now. I hope so, but I won't stay in touch to figure it out. She played you, and she played you badly. You weren't paranoid, you weren't overthinking. You were reacting to a wife who suddenly couldn't even look at you, let alone kiss you, because she knew what she'd done. She didn't slip. She didn't accidentally fall into another man because she was ovulating. That's not how biology works, and it definitely is not how marriage works. She made a choice, and then she doubled down by lying to your face while you were literally asking if she was okay. And the second you confronted her, she went straight into denial and name-calling because she thought you'd fold like a doormat. She genuinely believed she'd cheat, hide it, brush it off, and you'd, what, apologize for caring? Yeah, no. We've all heard excuses, but which one takes the cake for sheer ridiculousness? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.